I'll sing you the story of a duck whose name is Alfred Quack. Yes, Alfred Jodocus Kwak. He comes from a lovely little town, a lovely town in Waterland. Well, life is grand. Dipping, bobbing, diving, Alfred's always striving, he seldom wears a frown. You'll never keep a duck down. Dipping, bobbing, diving, Alfred's always striving, he seldom wears a frown. You'll never keep a good duck down. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Dipping, bobbing, diving, Alfred's always striving, he seldom wears a frown. Dipping, bobbing, diving, Alfred's always striving, you'll never keep a good duck down.
What?
Is this the first time that you have been to Alfred Jonathan Quack's house?
Sir.
Turn left at the top there.
Sir.
Please, can I have a word, Alfred?
But of course.
Mind if I come in?
Not at all.
Whenever I come, I'm never the bearer of good news, eh, Alfred?
I'm afraid not. But please have a seat, will you?
Thank you.
I'll get you some tea.
No, don't worry, Alfred. I won't be staying long, thanks.
Well, what can I do for you? Is it some problem that's to do with the king?
Yes, Alfred, it's a very serious problem.
Financial problem?
No, it isn't that.
Well, is he sick?
No, he's in perfect health.
Oh, good.
Why would you expect me to come over here to see you if the king was sick?
Suppose you're right. Well, what is the problem then, Judge?
It's really serious.
I know that. You've already said that to me.
Well, Alfred, His Majesty is seeking your advice.
Advice?
To be honest, I'm against it. I don't think it's the sort of problem that he should be discussing with commoners.
Commoner, am I?
Oh, are you offended?
No, I am just an ordinary citizen, just one small member of the public, huh? I've no idea what trouble the king has run into, but if it's something that does concern the life of his people, well, what's wrong with discussing it with a commoner,
Precisely, that's exactly what the king thought.
Oh.
That's why he sent me here, to find out if you will meet him.
Where have I got to meet him?
Well, it's sort of off the record when His Majesty meets with ordinary citizens, so it can't be held at the castle.
Where then?
Tomorrow, can you come to the summer palace at the beach?
Oh, certainly. Before I go, can you give me any idea what this problem is all about?
The king has told me to keep my mouth shut. You have to hear it from him at first hand.
Oh. Did you have a guest?
Judge Ruper's been here.
I hope he didn't ask for another loan.
Don't know.
Your Majesty, if you have any questions on the report for next year's fiscal budget, please feel free to ask.
No, I've no questions.
Thank you, Your Majesty. That is what we recommend as the best proposition for the present time.
I support it. Has Judge Ruby returned yet?
I'll go and look, sire.
Well, Your Majesty, we'd like to adjourn the meeting for today, if that's all there is.
Yes, and thanks for coming over. Good day, Minister. Oh, dear. Oh, I've got a stiff shoulder. Majesty?
And is Alfred coming?
Yes, sir.
Terrific.
Majesty,
Yes?
would you like to reconsider the whole thing?
My meeting with Alfred.
There's nothing wrong with meeting him, but should you discuss the problem?
I want to discuss it.
Once you bring up the subject in front of an ordinary citizen like Alfred, it'll be difficult to retract later on, I'm afraid.
But, Rupee, I shan't want to retract later on. It took me a lot of hard thinking to reach my decision.
Perhaps the king has fallen in love.
In love?
Didn't His Majesty go abroad last month?
Yes, he went to 2 or 3 different countries. But whatever's that got to do with it?
Quite a lot. In one of the places, he went into the city at night without any of his bodyguards, and there was a little florist shop on the street corner. Just picture it. The king wanted some roses, and he went into the shop, and what he saw there was a beautiful young girl surrounded by roses. And the king fell in love with her right on the spot. The girl picked a single rose and pinned it on the king's robe. A light of love lit up in his heart. He was in such a state of shock that he couldn't even remember how he got back home that night. And he can't help thinking about that girl and the rose ever since he came home.
But Winnie, how can you possibly know that?
I want to see her again and marry her, he says.
Marry her?
I know it could be difficult for me to marry a commoner, but I really love her, and I want her to be my queen. I wonder if there is anybody I can consult with.
That's why they sent for Alfred.
Well, that's the best I can come up with. Do you have a better one?
No, I'm afraid I haven't.
I'd be happy if it was something that romantic.
What if this story should be true, Alfred?
Well, if you should ask me, I'll willingly go and see the pretty girl in the flower shop. Hello? Hello? Whoa.
Alfred, I don't think there's any need for you to go and see her.
Why ever not, Winnie?
Forget it. You just listen to what the king has to say and advise him.
Well, I don't much really care.
You don't, huh?
Come now, Winnie. It's raining.
Yes.
What a day.
The storm's really violent.
Don't worry, this house is built to stand it.
It's a gale force wind.
We're expecting a hurricane.
Goodness, is it as bad as that? I do hope there won't be any floods.
In this country, there is nothing we can do to stop them.
No, that isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
We only have to build breakwaters high enough to stop the sea from coming in, and canals to drain off floodwater.
I suppose you're right. By the way, His Majesty wants you to dine with him.
Yes?
You can just relax till then.
Right. Just Rupee, if the king doesn't bring up his problem right away, what things should we talk about?
Well, everyday conversation. His Majesty is extremely interested in your recent adventures. Why not tell him your stories?
Well, we could have noticed quite a bit earlier that the fire from the crater wasn't hot at all. It was only when the fire hit my body that I realised it wasn't fire or flame because it wasn't hot. It was something we had never experienced in our lives.
Yes, but we all take it for granted that fire is hot, don't we? Because that's a normal reaction to flame.
Uh-huh.
I do envy you, Alfred. You have traveled without ever having any trouble, from the farthest corners of space to the bottom of the sea.
But I don't have such an important job as you have.
Not so important. Shall I tell them to serve coffee in the drawing room? Sure, let's adjourn. Oh, I've one or two things I'd like to discuss with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a storm, isn't it?
I'm worried about the next high tide due at 11 o'clock.
Any chance of flooding?
No, it's not that bad.
Well, a king shouldn't be sitting here just thinking about it, should he? A king should do the best he can to prevent floods, no matter how much it rains. No matter how big the waves, no matter the damage, I feel that I'm quite powerless to help anyone. I am simply doing nothing. I'm just completely useless.
No, sir.
I'm thinking that perhaps I ought to abdicate, Alfred, my friend.
Oh, no.
All the same, though, I wouldn't mind remaining as king if we also had an elected president.
President?
To tell you the truth, Alfred, no one else knows what I'm planning except Whoopi. Yeah. But my mind is still undecided about it, because that is something that would affect the entire future of Waterland.
Yes, that is true.
Rupi objected to it, but I decided I should discuss it with the one man that I have full confidence in, and that man is you, Alfred. I'd like to know what you think, and I will make my final decision after I've heard your reply.
That's quite a burden.
I want your opinion. My descendants and I will remain as the monarchy with no political power forever, and a president will be elected by the people who will be totally in charge. Are you for it or against it, Alfred? Come on. Do let me have your answer, lad.
Well, if you can't think of one, Alfred, just say so. It'll be all right.
I support having a president.
Ah, just so. I thought you would say that.
Just because Alfred gave you his opinion, it doesn't mean that you have to follow it, Your Majesty.
But why not have a President, Rupi? It's more democratic in the first place, isn't it? And I'd feel easier in my mind.
It'll be too late if you regret it later on, Your Majesty.
Oh, I'll never regret. But there's one thing that still worries me.
What's that, Your Majesty?
My worry is whether or not my people are wise enough to elect the right man. What I'm trying to do won't make any sense at all if things get worse for them.
All you can do is trust the people, Majesty.
Yes. By the way, Alfred, do you have any intention of running for the presidency yourself?
Eh? No way.
You are a man of justice, and very active, and you're well known. I would say that you stand a good chance.
But I don't want to be the president at all.
Are you sure?
Yes, of course.
Well, do you know anyone who would stand for president?
Yes, there's a friend of mine, a man named Ollie, and I'm sure he'd make a really perfect president.
Do you know this man at all, Judge Rupier?
Not very well, but what I've heard is he's top class.
Well, then, if that's what you think about him, there are absolutely no ifs or buts about it as far as I am concerned.
There will be big turning points for you. A chance to turn misfortune into luck and success. You must be careful of a duck, young man.
Of a duck?
Yes, and something else.
Ah, the duck. The duck, and what else?
It's coming, not quite clearly, but it has tremendous power and it might lose you everything, all of a sudden, just as quick as it came.
What are you talking about, eh? If you're a famous fortune teller, Just hurry up and tell me what I should be careful of besides the duck.
Yes, I can see the duck, but the other thing isn't quite clear. Oh dear, what's wrong with me?
Oh, what a con man. That's enough for me.
Hey, you haven't paid me.
One must be careful of that kind of man. I see. Ah, yes. Many people. That's what he's got to be careful about. Ah, yes. But I can't yet figure what the connection is.
Good heavens.
What's up?
Dolph is running for president, would you believe?
You're kidding.
No, I just saw him, and he was giving one of his speeches.
What a nerve that man's got. But he didn't draw a big audience, did he?
Yes, he did. Knox, who's a candidate too, was giving a speech nearby. But Dolph had a lot more listeners than him. And they all gave him a round of applause when he'd finished talking.
I don't understand. Has everybody forgotten how he plotted the king's overthrow before? And he's still doing some illegal business.
Unfortunately, he's doing everything behind closed doors.
We'll let them know then.
What were you writing?
It was a speech for Ollie.
Are you going to attack Dolph's misconduct in your pep talk now?
You don't want me to let Dolph become president, do you?
Of course not. But do you have any evidence against his illegal deeds? Yeah, sure he was smuggling weapons into Salem. But how'd you prove it? Sure he stole the drawings of Professor Boffin's solar device. Right out of his institute. Prove it, right? There's no evidence to prove anything. And if you attack him without any evidence, you'll finish up in court for slandering him.
Darn!
Latest news of the presidential election. With just 1 month to go, the candidates have been reduced to 3. Mr. Knox, a banker, Mr. Ollie, a lawyer, and Mr. Dolph, former president of the Crow Party. Mr. Knox, as a banker, is drawing people's attention to economic reforms of the government and a better standard of living. Mr. Ollie, the lawyer, is concerned with establishing true democracy in the nation.
You.
But most interesting of all is Mr. Dolph, one-time dictator of this country. He's fighting for leadership again, but through democratic means in an election this time. His administration ended abruptly when the king returned to his throne. Most people still remember Dolph's autocratic style as a politician. How will they judge the type of government he is now advocating? The latest opinion poll shows that about 70% of the voters are still not sure who they are going to vote for. With just 1 month to go, who is going to be Waterland's very first president? The campaign is going to get even more controversial as the days go by.
Oh, my goodness. If Dolph is elected as president, we'll feel like the most stupid people in the whole wide world, won't we?
Good luck there, Dolph.
Thank you.
I'll be voting for you, Dolph.
My dear.
God bless the Crow Party.
That's another story. Yes, madam?
Will you shake my hand, President Dolph?
It's a bit too early for that, I'm afraid. But thanks
We have
anyway.
to go to the TV station, Dolph. Right now. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Dolph has to go to the TV studio now. He will have to speak rather loudly during the debate with the other 2 candidates, so he needs to save his precious energy. Tired, Dolph?
I'm dog-tired.
Just relax.
My hands are all numb.
Well, your popularity is growing. I'm sure you'll win.
What's your optimism based on? The latest opinion polls have the 3 of us neck and neck.
But you're gonna win anyway, Dolph.
No, not like this. I need something decisive to ensure victory.
What's that? What do you mean decisive, eh?
Suddenly, the death of Ollie, eh?
Hey, Dolph, don't tell me that you're going to...
What?
Kill Ollie.
Ollie?
Well, you said, didn't you? What's up?
That's a silly thing to say.
Phew, I'm glad to hear that.
But you did think I was capable of it, didn't you?
No, I just...
That's all right. Well, I am capable of anything. Even murder, possibly, when the final crunch comes. Remember that.
Yeah, I know that.
That's right. This is Ollie's campaign headquarters. Who? Mr. Quack? Sorry, he's not in yet. He went to City Hall to give a talk for our candidate. Can I ask who's speaking?
Oh, I'm just a friend of Alfred. I'd like to leave him a message. Just say, I want you to prove that we had the right idea. He'll know what that means.
Ladies and gentlemen, Waterland is now beginning a new era, and all of you will be its builders. Depending on who you choose as the president, our new age can develop in different ways, and the right way will be started when Ollie gets into office. You, the electorate, shouldn't forget what one of the candidates did in the past. And you, the electorate, shouldn't be deceived by cheap propaganda. And you, the electorate, have to find out what the real truth is. Ollie is the one candidate that can show you what democracy is, what honesty is, and what true justice is. Ladies and gentlemen, the choice is yours. Cast your vote for Ollie. Ollie for President of Waterland.
Alfred is so merry, so very, very merry. He's even bright and cheerful if things are going wrong. Whenever he's downhearted, 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 the feelings never with him for very, very long. Young Alfred is quite sporty, he likes to be quite sporty. He's very much like any normal lively lad. Sometimes he can be naughty, but even when he's naughty, you'll find he's never, never, ever really bad. We're glad that you've been with us and heard our refrain. We'll hope you come along soon and join us again.